How do you do? Alright, so let's talk about how Trumpists constantly invoke BLM and Antifa protests of 2020 and how they compare this to the January 6th Trump-led insurrection against the United States government. Anytime I bring up January 6th, there's an immediate deflection and whataboutism, like immediately, to the BLM and Antifa 2020 protests and the destruction that went on there. Like that has anything to do with January 6th, which it doesn't. It's a total false equivalency. There's literally no comparison to anything that's happened in our lifetimes that happened like what happened on January 6th. That's a fact. That's just objective reality. But nonetheless, they try, and every time it's ridiculous to even ponder a comparison. Like I shouldn't even entertain it, but because I want to do a video and I'm kind of bored, I'll entertain what they're trying to say. And what they're trying to say here can be debunked when we look at the premise of each event. The January 6th premise was the big lie, was multiple lies leading up to the election, and the big lie that preceded the election, that the election was stolen, rigged, etc. So the whole premise of January 6th was a lie. It was fake. It was false. You had gullible Americans, disingenuous Americans, engaging and acting on the big lie. So the premise is totally false. There's no justification for what happened there, and that's pretty objective. The premise of the BLM Antifa protest and destruction, I think there was some property destruction. Time magazine said 93% of these protests were peaceful. That's a good amount. So roughly 7% of these protests, these are what the Trump's base is honing in on. So it's a very minute, cross section of those protests. But whatever, let's entertain this for the sake of argument. What would have been the premise to have violence or destruction? Well, my opinion is black people, and actually this isn't an opinion, this is a fact. Black people, brown people are killed disproportionately more often by the state, by police, than white people. And black people and brown people and their alliances are sick of it, and they lashed out. Now, no one's condoning the property damage. I'm certainly not condoning, the property damage or any of that. That's not even the point. The point is, there's going to be a reaction to the premise, which is valid. There's a valid premise for people to act out upon, unlike January 6th, where the premise was fundamentally false, patently false. There is nothing, there's no grain of truth in any of it. Attorney General Bill Barr even said so. There was no widespread voter fraud at all. So when we look at the premises of both events, one is based in reality, where black people and brown people are being disproportionately killed via the state, and there's data to back that up. And the other one was based on lies. Like none of that really happened. You just had a bunch of gullible people show up to the Capitol and act on their dark Lord leaders' words, engage in insurrection and the thwarting of democracy. So I mean, we didn't even have to go through this. I'm just going through this for the sake of argument. There's no comparison. And the premises of these events couldn't be more different. So don't let people strawman you into this argument, because they have no outs. When they misdirect on, when they misdirect with whataboutism and they have to go to something else, that's them conceding that you're right. That, yes, I have nothing to say there. I have to go somewhere else in the dialogue, in the discourse. I cannot sit with this because it's too damning to the senses, and what you're saying is valid and truthful. So they have to go all these other places, and it's just a bunch of straw man arguments. That's all it is. And, it's debunkable. The premises debunk the validity of the rationalization of violence or property damage or whatever, because they want to draw some equal ground here. And there is an equal ground, because one was based on a lie and one is based in objective reality. So that's my 2 cents. What's yours? Leave it down in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. And click the bell.